Good morning, students. Welcome to online session of Social Sciences. In previous class, we have studied about the Rajputs. As we all know, the Rajputs have a long history. There, many new principalities existed in northern and central India after the death of Harsha. Later on, these Rajputs they have controlled vast area of the country for 400 centuries. That was between 800 CE to 1200 CE, and this period is therefore called the Rajput period. After that, we have studied warfare for wealth. As Prithviraj Chauhan, he was very courageous warrior. His achievements and exploits have been described in his court poet in book Prithviraj Raso. After that, we have studied about Turkish invasion and Muhammad Ghori. Prithviraj Chauhan had the two battles of Trines with Muhammad Ghori. First battle of Trine was fought at in 1191 CE, and second battle of Trine was fought in 1192, and this battle was regarded as turning point of Indian history. Why? Because Prithviraj was defeated and taken captive and ultimately executed. After that, we have studied many points about the administration of the Rajput dynasty. The last that we have studied was Prashasti. Prashasti, that was a kind of praise on behalf of king. The above that you are seeing a blue box, that is an example of Prashasti, how the people they were writing that in praise of king. Now today I am going to explain about the next dynasty, that is the Cholas. The beginning of our period of study, there were only three kingdoms. They were first Chera, second Chola, and third was Pandya. All these kingdoms were in South India. These kingdoms have also been mentioned in Ashoka's edict. Edict means official order. So we can easily find all these names in the Ashoka's official order. Now, the Pallavas and the Chalukyas, they emerged in the 4th century CE. Both these empires ruled over the region for 400 years. Means these Pallavas and Chalukyas, they emerged in 14th century BC, and they had ruled over that region or area for 400 years. But in 9th century CE, the Cholas started emerging as a great power in South India. Means in 9th century, what happened? The Chola, that new dynasty, they came into existence and they were converting into great powers, but they were in South India. They were initially means in the beginning. So earlier or in the beginning, these Cholas were minor feudal clan which was known as Mutrayar and were subordinate, means in lower position. So these Cholas, they were subordinate or the lower in position to the Pallava king of Kanchipuram. Now Vijayalayala 846 to 871 CE founded Chola dynasty by conquering Tanjore. The Chola dynasty had many kings, but the outstanding ones were Raja Raja I and his illustrious son Rajendra Chola. Means in Chola dynasty there were many kings, those who have done many work, but among that kings there were only two were there, those who were very good or those who have done very outstanding work. So who they two were? First was Raja Raja I and his son Rajendra Chola. Now here we will understand about Raja Raja first. The Raja Raja first 985 to 1014 CE. He was a brilliant general. General is a rank in army, and campaigned in many directions. Campaign means that is an organized course of action. So he was a brilliant journal and he was having many organized course to or many organized work to do in many different directions. His achievements were remarkable. He extended means to make something larger in area. So to extend his rule to the north as far as Kalinga. As we all know that Chola, they were in south. So what Raja first has done, he had extended his rule from south to north till Kalinga, and he made Tanjore his capital. And he has also conquered the island of Sri Lanka. Raja was not only a great conqueror but also a capable administrator. Administrator means a person who can administrator means a person who is administrating the work. So he was being a good king, he was also a good administrator. He made many reforms. Reforms means changes. He have done many changes in the revenue. Revenue means income or the tax. So many changes he had done in income and taxes administration, and he had also took measures mean steps for the welfare of peasants. Peasants means agricultural worker. So he has done many changes in revenue administration so that he can have more money. He have also took many steps in the favor of or for the welfare of the peasants. Peasants mean the person those or the worker working in agriculture. Now the Raja was also a great builder. Beside a good administrator, besides a good king, he was also a great builder. His famous monument is the Raja Rajeshwar temple of Shiva, that is at Tanjore. And this is the finest means with very high quality. This is the very finest and finest specimen of Dravidian architecture. So this is a very high quality example or sample of Dravidian architecture. Next is Rajendra Chola. So we all know that Rajendra Chola is the son of Raja first. Now as Raja first was succeeded by his son Rajendra Chola, as it is considered as the worthy son of the worthy father. The worthy means good enough for something. So as that father was good, his son was like him and it was also good. So being a worthy son, he raised the Chola power to his high water mark. High water mark means a maximum recorded level. So as the Raja I, he was very good king and administrator. In same manner, his son was also a good king and he have done many work so that he can increase his kingdom or powers. He occupied the whole of Sri Lanka. First of all, what he have done? Gradually, he had occupied whole Sri Lanka. Then the conquest of Bengal was the most important achievement of Rajendra. Means he had many conquests, and the conquest of Bengal was considered the most important achievement for Rajendra. And after this, he assumed the title of Gangikonda Chola. Now, Rajendra's most impressive achievement was the conquest of Java. Java is an island in Indonesia. Then Sumatra, it is also an island in Indonesia. Then Malaya in present day it is called Malaysia. And Andaman and Nicobar. This is the Indian Union Territory. So he had conquered all these places. And this shows his prowess as a naval commander. Naval, as we all know, there are three kinds of forces. Armed forces, that is on land. Air force, related to air. And naval, that is related to water. So he has the skill. Process means skill. So he had that skill of being a naval commander, and he had a very sheer means very steep, great size in water operation also he had done there, naval operations. Now we will see that information that is given here about the administration, government, society, art and culture. The Chola administration has highly systemized and well organized. The vast empire was divided into 6 provinces or mandalas, that was called mandalas, each governed by viceroy. Means as 6 provinces were there, the all 6 provinces each was governed by viceroy, means total 6 viceroys were there. The provinces were further divided into districts or nadus. Again it was divided into districts or nadus. Now each nadu, it was subdivided into kotammas or kurammas, and that is consisting of number of villages. So that is the detail about administration is given. Now do you know who is the head of that whole administration? Yes, the king. The king was the head of the whole administration. Now this king had a number of high officials in charge of various departments. First we'll understand about the provincial administration. Now how this provincial administration was done? Generally the king appointed persons belonging to the royal family as governors, and these people, they usually carried out 2 kinds of work. First was they carried out the orders of the king in the provinces. Second, they were also responsible for the maintaining law and order in their territories. And do you know how they were doing this all these works? They had high officials to assist them, means to help them in carrying out their tasks. Next is village administration. The villages enjoyed self-government under the Chola kings. Means in villages they were having self-government. They itself solving their problems within village. All the powers of administration in the village were given to village assembly or means a village council, which is also known as Sabha. So all work, that powers they have given to the village assembly or Sabha. It carried on its work through various committees. What this administration were doing, village assembly were doing, they were working their work through various or different committees. It had the power, 2 kinds of powers they were having. First, to collect the revenue of the village. Second, to spend the revenue of the village. Okay, so this village assembly, they were having the right or they were having power to collect the revenue of the village, and after collecting it, it is their power only to spend the revenue of the village. It undertook works of public utility and maintained charitable institutions. Now there were different kinds of peasants. So some were poor peasants and some were rich. So rich peasants of Velalla caste exercised great control over village administration. The landlords were bestowed. Bestowed means given an honor. So these landlords, they have given honor with many titles such as Movendala, villain, a villain or peasant serving 3 kings. Arayar means chief, etc. by the Chola kings, and they have entrusted them with important offices at the state at center. Financial administration. Now the main source of income of the state was land revenue, means revenue or income from land. Now it was probably 1/6 of the total produce, means the land revenue was about 1/6 of the total produce. Suppose one farmer is there and he is doing that agriculture, whatever total production is there, Out of that protection, 1/6 of it will be given to the state as land revenue. The other sources of revenue were salt tax, means it is a kind of direct tax usually proportion to the amount of salt purchased. Next, custom duties, that is tax imposed on import or export of goods. Professional tax means that is paid on the basis of monthly income or salary. Water